Welcome, beautiful Sigma ladies. Touch not the quiet ones. What they guard isn't weakness, it's the storm they've tamed. Most people misunderstand the Sigma female because they mistake her silence for softness, her calm for submission, and her kindness for permission. Big mistake, colossal mistake. Because behind that serene gaze is a soul that loves like royalty, but retaliates like a ghosted general, silent, precise, and gone before you realize you were dismissed. Here's a fact to chew on. Studies in behavioral psychology show that emotionally self-reliant individuals are more likely to operate in extremes, total devotion or complete detachment. Translation? A Sigma female doesn't do the in-between. If she chooses to care, she does it with her whole being. But if you mishandle that care, she doesn't raise her voice. She erases your access. Think of her like a spiritual lioness who meditates, but also knows exactly where to bite if provoked. So today we're diving into why Sigma females possess a noble heart, but a warrior's spirit when touched. And trust me, this isn't about romanticizing strength. It's about dissecting the paradox. How can someone be so fiercely gentle and yet terrifyingly powerful? Grab your emotional seatbelt, because this is where compassion meets combat, and no one leaves unchanged. Number 1. They have morals, but they'll burn bridges with a smile. They have morals, but they'll burn bridges with a smile. This is where people get it wrong about Sigma females. They assume that just because she lives by a strong internal code, honesty, loyalty, fairness, that she'll stay no matter what. That she'll overlook disrespect or tolerate toxicity because she's too moral to walk away. But what most people don't realize is that her morals don't bind her to people. They free her from them. She doesn't stay loyal to dysfunction. She stays loyal to her standards. That's the difference. And when someone crosses a line, disrespects her boundaries, manipulates her kindness, or consistently shows they don't value her presence, she doesn't scream, argue, or beg. She just walks. Not in rage, not in revenge. She walks away because staying would be a betrayal of herself. And for her, self-betrayal is the worst crime of all. She'll burn a 10-year friendship, a family tie, even a romantic bond to the ground with zero guilt if it means protecting her peace. And she won't light the match in anger. She'll light it in clarity, not out of spite, but because she knows some bridges are meant to be destroyed so they're never crossed again. She doesn't make a show out of it. There's no dramatic exit or public announcement. One day, you're just out. Access revoked. That's it. People are stunned by how fast she detaches. But it's not fast. It's final. The truth is, she's been letting go quietly for a while. And when she acts, it's simply the last step in a decision you didn't see coming because you weren't paying attention. She values peace over history, integrity over loyalty. If staying loyal to you means betraying herself, she'll choose herself every single time, and she won't flinch while doing it. She doesn't burn bridges out of cruelty. She burns them to light her own way forward. Number 2. They're wired to love with honor, but fight without emotion. They're wired to love with honor, but fight without emotion. When a Sigma female chooses to love, it's not casual. It's not because she's bored, lonely, or desperate to feel something. Her love is intentional, chosen with awareness, built on respect, and laced with quiet depth. She gives from a place of strength, not need. So when she commits, it's not a performance, it's a vow. But here's the thing most people never see coming. Her love isn't emotional dependence, it's sacred devotion. And sacred things have boundaries. Cross them, and she won't explode, she'll exit. There won't be yelling, tears, or begging. There will be silence, precision, and strategy. If betrayed, she doesn't crumble. She switches, from lover to observer, from warm to indifferent. And what looks like coldness is actually clarity. The clarity that you're not who she thought you were. That realization doesn't break her. It activates her. She doesn't fight emotionally because she doesn't need emotional closure. She needs truth, and once she has it, she acts with ruthless clarity. She won't fight to be understood, she won't chase, and she definitely won't stick around to fix what you broke. She fights by removing herself completely, and doing so with a calm that rattles people to their core. Her vengeance doesn't look like chaos. It looks like absence, and not the kind that waits for you to notice. the kind that ensures you feel it, permanently. She once loved you with honor. She saw you. She chose you. But once that trust is broken, she doesn't try to punish you. She simply rewrites your role in her story, from main character to deleted file. And that in itself is the deepest kind of vengeance. Not rage, but irrelevance. Because when a Sigma female stops feeling for you, it's not a phase, it's a conclusion. Number 3, they were built to protect, not to please. They were built to protect, not to please. Sigma females don't walk into rooms trying to be liked. They're not scanning for approval, applause, or validation. They're scanning for truth, energy, alignment, and most importantly, safety. Because at their core, they are not performers. They're protectors, not of people necessarily, but of something far more rare, their soul's integrity. They don't mold themselves to fit environments. They don't dilute their opinions just to keep peace. They don't fake smiles to avoid discomfort. If the space isn't right, they withdraw. If the people feel off, they disconnect. Their first instinct is not, how can I be accepted here? It's, do I feel safe being fully myself here? And that's what most people don't understand. They confuse her calmness for agreeableness, her politeness for permission, her stillness for submission. But none of those are accurate. She's not here to make others comfortable. She's here to stay true to her essence, even if that means standing alone in a room full of noise. When she's respected, her presence is grounding, even noble. She uplifts quietly, strengthens invisibly, and supports without making a show of it. But when she's pushed too far, disrespected, betrayed, or boxed in, she flips, not into rage, into protection mode. And when that mode kicks in, all bets are off. She doesn't go on the offense with drama. She goes into defense with distance. Walls go up, emotions shut down, access is cut. And suddenly the person who once made you feel seen and safe becomes unreadable, unreachable, and completely indifferent. She will protect her peace, even if it costs her friendships, relationships, or reputation. She doesn't protect herself with noise. She protects herself with absence. She will let everything burn before she lets her soul be compromised. Because being liked has never been the goal. Being real has. And that kind of realness comes with a warning. Don't touch what she guards unless you know how to hold it with honor. Number 4, they'll carry everyone's weight until you mistake their strength for servitude. They'll carry everyone's weight until you mistake their strength for servitude. Sigma females are natural stabilizers. They step into chaos and quietly create order. They don't announce their contributions, they just get things done. They hold families together, support friends through storms, manage crises behind the scenes, and carry emotional weight most people can't even recognize, let alone lift. They do it not out of obligation, but because they're wired for inner strength. Responsibility doesn't scare them. Being the backbone is normal to them. But here's where people mess up. They start to expect it. They start to lean too hard, ask too much, and forget that this kind of strength is a gift, not a duty. They stop saying thank you. They start assuming she'll always handle it, always be there, always absorb the tension. And they cross a silent line. They stop seeing her strength as sacred and start seeing it as service. That's when everything changes. Because once she senses that her resilience is being used rather than appreciated, her patience evaporates. She doesn't complain. She doesn't give you a warning. She doesn't break down crying about how heavy it's been. She just drops the weight and walks away. And when she does, it's shocking. The same woman who held everything together without asking for credit suddenly disappears. Systems collapse, people panic, and only then do they realize she wasn't just coping, she was carrying everyone. She won't come back with a lecture. She won't explain why. Because if you didn't see her value while she was holding it all, you don't deserve access after she drops it. Her strength isn't for sale. It's not to be exploited. It's a quiet power she shares with those who honor it, not those who confuse it for endless supply. Once you mistake her grace for servitude, the connection is already dead, and she will never carry what disrespects her again. Number 5. They're kind because they know how ugly the world can be. They're kind because they know how ugly the world can be. Sigma females aren't kind out of cluelessness. They're kind because they've seen the underbelly of people. They've watched betrayal dressed up as friendship, manipulation packaged as love, and cruelty passed off as just being honest. They've been lied to with smiles, used by people who praised them publicly. They know exactly how dark humans can get, and still they choose to stay soft where it counts. That softness isn't weakness, it's discipline, a choice. It's their way of refusing to become the very thing they had to survive. Their kindness isn't reactionary, it's defiant. It's strength disguised as grace. But here's what most people miss, that kindness has boundaries, and once those are crossed, the whole energy shifts. Because while the Sigma female may lead with empathy, she's never blind. She sees through the fake compliments, the guilt trips, the subtle control. She clocks every inconsistency and files away every red flag even while she's smiling. And when the time comes, when the pattern reveals itself clearly enough, she doesn't explode. She exits. Not quietly, not loudly, completely. She won't argue. She won't explain. She just stops giving you access to the version of her that ever gave you grace. That kindness you thought was permanent. Gone. That warmth you exploited. Ice cold now. You thought she was too kind to walk away. What you didn't realize is, that's exactly why she did. Because to her, kindness without self-respect isn't noble. It's self-betrayal. So yes, she's kind. But it's not for you. It's for her. It's how she protects her humanity in a world that keeps trying to kill it. But if you try to weaponize her goodness, what you'll meet isn't a pushover. It's a warrior with perfect memory and zero tolerance. And she won't raise her voice. She'll just walk away, taking her kindness with her, forever. Number 6. They are lovers of peace, but they are built for psychological warfare. They are lovers of peace, but they are built for psychological warfare. Sigma females don't walk around looking for a fight. In fact, they avoid drama at all costs. They crave stability, stillness, inner quiet. They'd much rather solve things with grace, stay in their lane, and move in peace. But make no mistake, just because they avoid chaos doesn't mean they can't operate in it. If you push them too far, what you awaken isn't rage, it's calculation. They've spent years studying people, consciously or not, watching how others move, lie, manipulate, overcompensate, and play games, while everyone else is loud and reactive. The Sigma female is quietly taking notes. She's not emotional in conflict, she's observant, and when she's hurt or betrayed, she doesn't strike back immediately. She waits, she analyzes. She sees through the mask, the fake apologies, the rehearsed charm, and then she responds, not with noise, but with surgical precision. You won't even know you've been disarmed until it's already over. She won't argue. She'll let you speak. She'll let you lie. She might even let you feel like you've won, until your own contradictions collapse under her silence. That's her battlefield, your own words, your patterns, your blind spots. And she'll use them to dismantle the version of reality you tried to force on her. She doesn't need to scream to prove a point. She doesn't need to throw things or post vague quotes online. She'll shatter your narrative with 3 well-placed truths and then disappear. No trace, no closure, just clarity. And in the aftermath, you'll be left trying to understand how someone so quiet could hit that hard without even raising her voice. Because peace was always the goal. But if war is what's required to restore it, she won't flinch. She doesn't fight for dominance. She fights to end the game. And when she plays to win by never playing twice. Cross her once, and you'll learn, the most dangerous warrior is the one who never wanted to fight in the first place. Number 7. They can love you without needing you, and that terrifies people. They can love you without needing you, and that terrifies people. Most people are used to love being tangled up with dependency. They think love means attachment, constant reassurance, and emotional leaning. So when someone pulls back, they assume love is gone. But Sigma females flip that entire script. They can care for you deeply, even fiercely, but without needing you to complete them, validate them, or stabilize them. That kind of self-contained love makes people uncomfortable, because it doesn't play by the usual rules. Sigma females don't cling, they don't beg for attention, they don't fear being alone. They love from a place of fullness, not lack. So when they give you their heart, it's a choice, not a survival tactic. And that's exactly what makes them so powerful and so intimidating. They're the kind of women who can show up fully, love you generously, and still walk away without flinching if the respect disappears. Not because they stopped feeling, but because they refuse to stay somewhere that dishonors what they feel. They don't threaten to leave. They just leave. Quietly, fully, surgically. Not to punish you, but because once they realize the connection isn't aligned with their values or peace, staying becomes impossible. That's the part people don't see coming, because they confuse the Sigma female's softness with permanence. They think just because she's calm, loyal, and emotionally intelligent, she'll stick around no matter what. But her independence isn't just about money or solitude. It's emotional. It's spiritual. She's whole on her own, and if the love isn't reciprocal, she lets go without hesitation. Not out of bitterness, not out of pride, but out of deep self-respect. And the aftermath? That's what truly terrifies people. Not just that she left, but that she didn't fall apart when she did. No drama, no breakdown, just silence, and a clean exit. Because her love was real. But her self-worth is non-negotiable. Number 8, they don't start wars, but they finish them without mercy. They don't start wars, but they finish them without mercy. Sigma females aren't drawn to conflict. They don't stir the pot, create tension, or look for fights to prove their strength. In fact, they often go out of their way to keep things peaceful. Not because they're weak, but because their energy is sacred, and they don't waste it on drama. They'd rather walk away than engage in battles that lead nowhere. But if they're cornered, if they're lied to, betrayed, or disrespected beyond reason, that's when everything changes. They don't respond with chaos. They respond with calculation, quietly, precisely, and without warning. There's no shouting match, no emotional meltdown, no begging for justice. They simply shut down their empathy and activate something far more dangerous, strategic coldness. They observe, they analyze, and then they act. Not out of revenge, but from a place of clarity. And when they do, it's not about teaching you a lesson, it's about removing the threat entirely. They're not out to hurt you. They're out to end the dynamic that violated their peace. And they do it with such detachment, it feels surgical, clean, efficient, irreversible. This isn't petty retaliation. This is the kind of finality that leaves people stunned because it doesn't come with warnings or theatrics. One minute you think everything's fine, the next you've been erased. No messages, no explanations, just gone. And when you try to circle back, it's like knocking on a door that no longer exists. Because for the Sigma female, protecting her peace is not a preference, it's a mission. And once someone proves themselves a threat to that peace, she doesn't just defend herself, she eliminates the possibility of it ever happening again. Call it extreme, call it cold. But it's not emotional destruction, it's necessary annihilation, not of you, but of the version of herself that ever tolerated the damage. Number 9. Their compassion has a pulse, but it's never on display. Their compassion has a pulse, but it's never on display. Sigma females don't parade their empathy. You won't see them posting emotional tributes, overusing sentimental words, or making a scene about how deeply they care. Their compassion isn't decorative, it's active, quiet, and real. It's in the way they notice when someone's energy shifts, in how they hold space without making it about themselves, in how they show up. Not when it's convenient or seen, but when it's needed most. They won't always tell you they care. They'll prove it in ways that feel almost invisible, checking in when no one else does, remembering the details you forgot you shared, staying calm when you're falling apart. They don't console with cliches, they offer presence, not performance. But here's the part most people underestimate. That same compassion has sharp edges. People see her stillness and mistake it for endless patience. They assume her silence means softness. They lean too hard, take too much, or assume she'll keep absorbing their chaos. And that's when things shift. Because her empathy may be quiet, but it has limits. And when someone touches her core with cruelty, manipulation, or betrayal, that warm pulse turns ice cold. She won't explode. She won't beg for better treatment. She'll cut off access with precision you never saw coming. Her silence transforms from kindness to consequence. She doesn't raise her voice. She raises her standards and removes you from the equation without looking back. It's not anger, it's protection. Because that compassion you took for granted, it wasn't a weakness, it was a rare frequency, and you blew your chance to be near it. Sigma females feel everything, but not everyone gets to see it. And once you prove you can't be trusted with the quiet power of her care, she won't fight. She'll vanish, leaving only the echo of what you lost and the thunder of what you woke up in her. Number 10. They are healers who refuse to be used as hospitals. They are healers who refuse to be used as hospitals. Sigma females are natural restorers. They attract the broken, the bruised, the lost, not because they invite pain, but because people instinctively feel safe around them. There's something grounded in their presence, something unspoken that makes you feel seen without having to explain every scar. And when they choose to give that energy, it's transformative. They'll listen when no one else has the patience. They'll offer clarity when you're drowning in confusion. They'll even hold your pain without judgment, but only for a time. Because here's the truth, their healing is sacred, not bottomless. They don't exist to be emotional dumping grounds. They are not on call for repeated rescues. The moment you begin to treat their care as a service, as a role they're supposed to play for your convenience, the temperature drops fast. What was once warmth becomes distance. What once felt like sanctuary now feels locked and inaccessible. And it's not out of cruelty, it's out of deep awareness. Sigma females know the fine line between helping and being used. And once they feel that line has been crossed, they pull back completely. They won't argue. They won't guilt-trip you. They'll just go cold, silently reclaiming their energy without negotiation. They've likely already patched themselves up more times than anyone knows. So when they give that healing to someone else, it's a conscious gift, not a duty. And if someone starts expecting that care without offering accountability, growth, or even basic respect in return, they shut the gates. They didn't become strong just to carry others who won't walk on their own. They'll pour into you, but only if you're willing to carry the cup, not just drink from it endlessly, because they weren't made to fix people. They were made to awaken them. And if someone can't rise with the help, the Sigma female won't stick around to watch them collapse by choice. She'll walk away, unapologetically whole. Number 11. They forgive, but they also forget you ever existed. They forgive, but they also forget you ever existed. Sigma females don't hold grudges, not because they're weak, but because they've evolved past the need to carry emotional debris. They can look you in the eye after betrayal, feel no hate, no rage, not even sadness. And that's what makes people uncomfortable. They don't need closure. They don't need apologies. They just let go. But not in the way most people do. Because when a Sigma female forgives, it's not an open door, it's a final release. Her forgiveness is clean, not passive-aggressive, not bitter, not performative. It's a quiet decision to no longer let your presence have weight in her emotional world. But here's the part that leaves people stunned. Once she forgives, she doesn't welcome you back. She doesn't reconnect. She doesn't rehash, reminisce, or re-engage. She simply erases the bond, not out of spite, but because she's finished with it. People mistake this for coldness. It's not. It's clarity. When you've shown her who you really are, when your actions have crossed the boundary of her values, she doesn't punish you. She just removes you from her emotional universe like a corrupted file. No drama, no announcement, just deletion. You may think you've made peace, that you've mended things, but what you'll feel instead is distance. Permanent distance. Because while she has no hatred left for you, she also has no space left for you. That's the duality of her forgiveness. It's real, but it doesn't come with access. She doesn't believe in half-hearted boundaries. Once she's healed, she doesn't revisit the wound. And once you've been released, you stay released, not because she's heartless, but because she respects her peace too much to risk it again. So yes, she forgives, fully, but don't mistake that for a second chance. Forgiveness, for her, is closure, not reconnection. And once you're out of her world, it's not temporary. You're gone like you were never even there. Number 12. They'll defend the underdog, but never allow themselves to be won. They'll defend the underdog, but never allow themselves to be won. Sigma females have an unshakable instinct to protect those who are overlooked, underestimated, or mistreated. If they see someone being silenced, excluded, or walked over, something primal kicks in. They'll step in, not loudly, not for credit, but with precise, calm authority that shifts the power dynamics instantly. They champion the quiet, the different, the misunderstood, because they get what it's like to not fit the mold. But here's the paradox. While they'll fiercely defend others, they refuse to be seen as someone who needs defending. The moment someone starts treating them like a victim, or worse, like they're broken and need saving, the Sigma female disappears. Not physically at first, but energetically. She'll withdraw from conversations, from people, from spaces that start making her feel small. She does not wear weakness publicly, even if she bleeds privately. She doesn't want sympathy. She wants respect. Trying to rescue her when she hasn't asked for it is a guaranteed way to make her close the gates. She'll walk away, rebuild whatever broke in silence, and return on her own terms, stronger, sharper, and even more untouchable. Not because she doesn't feel pain, but because she refuses to let it define her identity. Being seen as a victim feels like a cage to her. She can handle failure, heartbreak, loss, but being pitied, being treated like something fragile or helpless, that's intolerable. She'd rather suffer alone than be cradled in false comfort. Because at the end of the day, the Sigma female doesn't want saving. She wants sovereignty. She'll defend others without hesitation, even put herself at risk to do it. But let someone try to fix her, to paint her as someone who needs fixing, and she will vanish without explanation. Because she's not here to be pitied. She's here to stand, and when she falls, she rises in silence. Not to prove you wrong, but to remind herself she never needed you to begin with. And there you have it, the sacred paradox of the Sigma female. A noble heart wrapped in iron, a healer with unshakable boundaries, a silent storm cloaked in serenity. She is not built for applause. She is built for truth. She will carry your world, protect your peace, guard your name, and walk away the moment you confuse her depth for obligation. She forgives with grace, but she forgets with precision. She doesn't announce her exit. She becomes a ghost you can still feel, but will never touch again. Her love is not something you earn with charm, it's something you respect with consistency. Because once you've crossed the line, there are no rewinds, no emotional theatrics, no long speeches, only one terrifying shift, total emotional deletion. She's a paradox in motion, still but watching, soft but unshakable, loving but never needy. And if you're lucky enough to be in her orbit, understand this, her presence is a privilege, not a right. So to those who try to tame her, test her, or underestimate her, remember this, she was born for peace, but she was built for war. And when touched wrongly, she will protect her soul with a silence so complete it will echo louder than any scream. This spoke to something deep in you. Don't just keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and tell us which truth hit the hardest. We read everything, and your voice matters here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content that cuts through the noise and dives into the minds of the rare, the real, and the untamed. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it. You never know who's silently walking the Sigma path. This is more than just a channel, it's a movement. Welcome to the tribe.